What keeps a manufacturer with their current packaging company? We collaborate with our customers. Sometimes our customers bring it. Sometimes they work with us to develop it. And where they allow us, we certainly provide our input, and we've got the expertise here to do that.
What does packaging simplified really mean? The packaging can really make or break your product.
How would you package a goldfish? You'd need some sort of heat seal or something, and then you'd need some additional padding around it. And then it'd be very important how you label the packaging on the outside to let people know, this needs to be handled with care.
No punctures.
There's something live inside, like something that would be delivered in dry ice. It needs to be delivered within X amount of time.
It's all unpacked right now. All right, pack it up, pack it in. We are here today. This is episode 1 of Unpacked, powered by Forefront Packaging Solutions. I couldn't be more excited today because this is the launch, and we're here to talk about everything and anything having to do with packaging. But there is a kick to this because this is a far more diverse organization than you will see in the industry. Very much focused on the full customer experience. We need to get to know the people behind all the decision-making, the past, the present, the future. Where is this organization going? So what a great way to do that with a podcast. By the way, my name is John Morris. I'm happy to host this show. I'm here today with Rob and Melanie, and we are going to unpack everything having to do with the packaging industry. Does that sound fair?
Great.
I love it. All right, so I'm super curious about where Forefront started. And Rob, maybe you can start with this. In 2023, you and a partner bought the organization. But prior to that, the company had been around for quite a while. So talk a little bit about kind of the origin story. How did the company get started? What were some of the services? And how did your tenure come to be?
Sure. Well, thanks, John. So Forefront was started by Laura Boucher. Laura was in the packaging industry starting in the 80s. And in the early 2000s, with the help of some customers and vendors, she was urged to go out on her own, and she built this great business that got us really excited when we first learned about it. And as Laura was looking to move into retirement and starting to spend more time with her grandchildren, it was a great transition. She helped us, with the building blocks of where we are today. And we just saw a lot of potential because it has a really great customer base.
Yeah.
And then, slowly but surely, we've built this phenomenal team that's really positioning us for where we're hoping to go in the future.
What's really cool is you'll probably see around the studio, there's several logoed items here. These are fantastic customers that you have. You've done the work. In some cases, you've done some of the design. And Melanie, what is it like to work with such amazing brands?
Oh gosh, it's such a pleasure, and it makes you so proud to be able to work with the brands you see locally everywhere in the grocery store, and then fast food chains, and just being a part of their packaging and getting to know the ins and outs of their manufacturing facilities. It's truly an honor.
I can imagine that. Like when you guys go to a store or you go to a restaurant and you see something, if you see something on the shelf and you're like, I did that, the sense of pride has got to be pretty cool. Like when's the last time that has happened other than looking around the studio right now and you're seeing that? But when's the last time you were out in public just doing your own thing and you look over on the shelf, you're like, yeah, let's go. I did that.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Being in Chicago and working with local brands, you go in the store and it'd be hard to miss. My favorite thing, though, is when I'm with other people and, you're kind of like, oh, these are our customers and we're really proud of what they do. The thing that I'm most proud of is, you can say, hey, these are our customers. Look how great their packaging looks. And then, oh, guess what? We don't work with those folks and look at their packaging. It could use a little help.
Yeah. How important do you think packaging really is? Let's be honest. I mean, what's inside obviously is solving a problem, or is what people are coming for, right? They want whatever the bread or whatever the sauce or whatever's inside. But how important is packaging now? I saw a study that said that there's something like 11 million sensories in the human body, and 6 million of the 11 million are sight, our vision. So how important is it to your customers that you get that right?
Well, I mean, think about when you shop, you're immediately drawn to things by how it looks. So
Yeah.
it's extremely important how it looks in the packaging. I mean, the packaging can really make or break your product. If it's not fitting right, if it's too big or loose, it kind of, just like clothing on people, it looks ridiculous. And
Yeah.
so, like it's lost in there. It doesn't showcase the best parts of the product. So we're all about how that packaging looks and even diving in. Sometimes people don't even know they have a problem with their packaging and just calling attention to little details or little fine tuning on the bag. But yeah, in the grocery store, if you think about it from a different view now on and looking at packaging, when you go through the grocery store with a whole new eye, because you're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, this is you don't even know you're attracted to things, but you are based on how they look.
So what are some of the tricks to that? Obviously, you guys have to stay within brand. People have their logos, they have their marketing department, they have their branding department, they put things together. You have to stay within brand, but how much leeway do you have with your customers to be like, hey, look, if we tweak this just a smidge or go a little bit more this direction, this is going to have an impact on your revenue and how people embrace your brand. How often do you have that conversation?
Well, our design team, I think, is the best there is. And they have kind of that expertise that, frankly, I don't. I don't pretend to have it.
Yeah.
They see things that I don't see. They understand the trends. They understand what works, what doesn't work. And so a big part of what we do is helping to educate our customers. And quite frankly, that's why we win a lot of new businesses, is be it at a trade show or a referral, or frankly, just knocking on somebody's door saying, hey, we see an opportunity. We'd love to help. Would you be open to some feedback? And then what our team comes with is just second to none.
Yeah.
I know everybody loves their packaging team, but I will stand behind ours and say they're the best, and I'll argue with anybody who wants to argue with me about it.
So how often is that the decision? Because at the end of the day, right, a lot of what you do is commodity driven, right? It's like it's an ultra competitive industry. There's not a ton of margin, right? I mean, it's pretty tight, but that design, that creative really is a differentiator. So how often is that the tiebreaker for you in your conversation with the prospective customers? How often is that design the thing that takes you over the hump and gets you the order?
I mean, all the time, really, if you think about it, because if you're a manufacturer and you're making a really good product and you might have an idea for a spinoff of that product, they don't know where to go with how are we going to package it. The manufacturer, especially with food, they're worried about how am I going to make this,
Yeah.
what do
Will
we
people
need?
like it?
Yeah, will people like it? All of that. So what we can do is we can come in, we can take all the trouble out of finding someone to do the art, who then, finding something you would usually be on a scavenger hunt in your own facility trying
Yeah.
to find something that would maybe fit. So we're basically, coming to them with this, full suite of services that can give them a solution without having them to go down multiple roads to figure out
Yeah,
what to do.
that all-in-one solution is so appealing and so attractive now. But I don't want to lose
And
sight
then-
of this, because you mentioned something earlier about the packaging process, and sometimes it's not just the design. Sometimes it's how it's packaged so things aren't loose and so on. Well, nowadays with e-commerce and people ordering online, everything is shipped, right? I mean, everything is shipped. So how often is that where you go in and you say, hey, here, there's a design creative part, but there's also a practicality of making sure that your product arrives intact? How often is that something that maybe your predecessors have dropped the ball on and you're able to come in and solve?
So there's always a lot of opportunity. And we try to, again, along the lines of education, right? Say, hey, do you need to use this thick of a mill on your bag, right? Are you paying for extra plastic that you don't need? Or is it just, an inch too wide? And are you paying for plastic you don't need? So there's kind of the functional piece. There's trying to save the customer and introduce efficiencies into the process so that they can put more money back into making a great product, right? And so just making sure that the product looks good
Yeah.
and is functional, those things are coupled, and you can't separate those. Otherwise, you're not really delivering a solution. You're kind of, hitting on one of the things that the customer cares about, but we're looking to provide, a complete service, a complete solution, and art and design is a major piece of that.
And going back to what you said about, how often do we, break the tie with, being able to show them how the product looks. We can do that not even showing them by an idea or a picture, but we have an actual in-house design studio where we can actually mock it up so they can actually see their product.
Yeah.
So that oftentimes is what, wins us over, because you can actually, hold, touch, and feel your product and design together.
Seeing is believing, right?
Right.
Okay, so Melanie, what is packaging simplified? What does that really mean?
Packaging simplified is basically like you don't have to worry about anything. We're going to take all the things around the packaging, the design, the compliance documents, the checking your nutritionals, which is a lot of times things you don't even think about, things you need for FDA and third-party audits and all of that. And we're going to handle everything about it. We're one
really?
call away.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So literally, like on the back of the box, it says the nutrients in there, how many calories, all that stuff. So you're doing the research and putting that on for folks?
We're getting their specs.
Okay.
And then we're checking to make sure that that's in
Accurate,
compliance.
in compliance.
Yeah, we have some
amazing.
tools that we can check all that and know. Like we had a customer one time who was making bitters and had alcohol listed at the bottom because, he was afraid that, it wasn't as desirable of an ingredient. But we were educated him that, no, that's the number one ingredient. It has to be at the top. So things like that, we have a lot of experience and resources around what good nutritional it looks like.
So when you explain to the marketplace, like, we're going to take all of this burden off your hands, like, what's the reaction of, I would imagine, the procurement team, the operations team, probably the marketing team at the organization is probably like, oh, thank God. Like, we just want to do our thing. Like, we don't have to worry about this. Is great. Please hire them. Like, how often do you kind of get that reaction where people are like, thank goodness?
So there's a process. So I think initially we're met with a lot of skepticism because if you're a manufacturer and you're making a product, you've got packaging people knocking on your door every day, and they can be relentless. Generally, we view a lot of those folks as folks who are selling a commodity as opposed to selling a solution or selling convenience. But once we actually get people to come work with us, you do see the lights go on, either in that first conversation or when they see the mock-up or, when we start to show them data like, hey, this is, how much inventory you're currently storing, and this is how much you could be storing if you worked with us. Because often people are just like, oh, I want to save, a penny here or a penny there. And they're just kind of thinking about margins and things like that, which they should be. But often what they don't think about is the balance sheet side of things, right? It's like, how much of your liquidity do you have tied up in working capital, in floor space? On the P&L, it could be, procurement folks. Let's take all that capital and redeploy it into the business, like opportunities to grow, new locations. Yeah, that next marketing effort. Like, so as people start to work with us, if they give us a shot, it's very infrequent that we don't end up growing that opportunity and turning that into, a long-term partnership. But it's really just getting people to try it. That's a challenge because they are getting hit up all the time. And it's hard to, explain how you're different and what the experience is. So some of the best opportunities come from the referrals.
Sure.
Because they're like, hey, I've worked with these guys. Like, it's a game changer. You got to try them. And then, it's off to a great start. And so, it's, some people are skeptical, but once they try us, we have a lot of fun and a lot of success with it.
And this is kind of why we've talked about, now we are executing on the idea of a podcast.
Sure.
Because you have such amazing customers that prior to working with you, we're getting a good service, but not a great service. And you want to highlight some of those folks. You want to highlight their brands. You want to promote their brands. And that's part of the relationship building is like, hey, we're not just handling your packaging. We actually have a partnership with you. We're like family. We want to bring you in. We want to promote your brand. So while we are today promoting Forefront Packaging Solutions and introducing Unpacked to you, you are going to see other folks sitting in these seats, probably some of your top customers, especially in the area, and folks in the industry that are going to come in and talk about how you partner with them, how you collaborate with them. This is a collaboration marketplace. Would you agree with that? It's all about collaboration right now.
Right.
100%.
So how are you going about that, Melanie, with your team? What are you expressing to your team? Being the director of sales, right? What are you expressing to your team is kind of the new way. I'm guessing a lot of salespeople out there would like to know this because they are running into that wall. It's like nobody wants to take a phone call. Nobody wants to take an email. We've heard it. We've done it. Consumers want to shop now. They don't want to be sold. They want to look at content. They want to get to know you before they actually know you.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the ways that you're going about doing that you think is differentiating you from maybe how other people are approaching it without giving away too much secret sauce?
Right. Well, like you've alluded to, we're all about the collaboration and the partnership. So, we don't want any kind of transactional business. We want to get to know the company. Really, what do they need? Like what areas can we help them with? Not just packaging. What's the whole company look like? And then, just building that relationship with them and then staying in it. So we don't just get in there and, manage an item and then sell it and go about our business. And we really want to maintain a relationship with them where we're meeting with them weekly. We're, their sales teams are able to come and meet with us if we're talking to procurement and saying, hey, we have this idea. What do you think about this? And, really just being a soundboard for any kind of new ideas or business that they have and keeping that relationship to grow. We want partners. We want to be an extension of their brands. We don't want to just be, like I said, transactional business.
So being proactive in your approach like that's a cultural thing. That starts, Rob, top down, right? So I don't know if that was a process that was here before 2023, but it sounds like that's a process that's very important to you here. I walked in this morning and you were having a full team meeting. And I said to Melanie, don't take that for granted because I go to a lot of companies and they don't communicate like that. So that messaging, that internal messaging starts from top down. It's really, really important. So how often are you having those types of meetings where you're saying, hey, look, let's soundboard this and what can we go to our customer with and say, hey, rather than just allowing it to be what it's at right now, how do we make it a little bit better? What's the approach to that? How often are you having those conversations?
Sure. So I want to give Laura all the credit for the Monday huddle. It happens every single Monday, and we sit down and we go through functionally what everyone's working on, what they need help with, and what was accomplished in the last week. Just so a little bit of where were we, where are we, where are we going, and then who needs help? What resources can the rest of the team provide, or can I provide to help us kind of keep hitting those milestones? And it's very helpful to kind of kick off the week and everybody's on the same page.
Yeah,
we're able to highlight or bring to the surface any kind of hot items that need to be addressed immediately. And that really gets the week off to a good start. Everyone's energized. And then on Fridays, we have a similar group come together, but it's an account call where we go through account by account as opposed to function by function, just to make sure we've got everything that the customers are going to need for the next week.
that's awesome.
Anything art and design wise that we need to kind of check in with the customer and make sure it's on track so we can get it to the printer. And then that helps us kind of close out the week and make sure that we did everything we needed to do, and we're prepped to have another great week the following week.
That's fantastic. If you're a customer of Forefront and your ears are burning on Friday, it's because they're talking about how to make things better for you. That's really a great process. So what's your favorite part about leading this organization?
It's super cliche, but it's the people. So Melanie was the first person that was hired after I started. And since, it's almost an entirely new team, and part of that's my fault for moving the organization across town. But since then, I think what we've tried to do is just create a space where people with, a certain expertise in their individual discipline are able to just, do what they do best. So be it art and design, be it, system optimization, be it, data forward, be it, all the activities that are happening in the warehouse. I think you could eat off our warehouse floor. It's that clean. It's that organized.
It's almost OCD, guys. It's a little insane, but it's fantastic.
Yeah, for the $1 million of inventory we have, as we do a physical inventory, I've never seen it be off by more than $1,000. So it's 0.00 whatever percent, and it's just people really care. Everyone here rolls up their sleeves. What can I do to help? Everybody wants to be part of building something, and part of what the genesis of that is we start, it's our culture, it's our core values. They're written on the wall. It's the first thing you see when you come in. But what helps drive that also is we start every interview process off with a cultural interview. You know,
Okay. How do you do that?
Who are the people that, you know, are interested in joining our organization? Do they share our values? Do they have the same work ethic and care that we all have? And to date, like, it's worked really, really well. It's 2 + 2 is 5 or 10.
Yeah.
It's just amazing once you put a lot of really good people together, what they can do.
You know, that is interesting because I do get a chance to go into a lot of organizations. You see folks, you know, like you walk in and you're a stranger and you might be walking with somebody who's an executive in the organization and nobody picks their head up and looks over. I don't get that feeling when I walk in here. I'm always greeted with a hug. Typically Lori is answering the door and she's always got a big smile on her face, but everyone stands up, says hello, shakes a hand. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? And again, not to be taken for granted. That doesn't happen at every organization, but it happens at the organizations that make it a priority, that actually make it part of the daily routine, make it habitual. And it sounds like you've done that. You've been Batman and Robin since the get-go, first interview, first hire, right? And you guys collectively have collaborated together. You run in alignment, right? I would imagine you agree on most things. What happens when you disagree? How does that play out? How does that conversation happen? Because you can't always agree.
Well, I'm going to correct you first. It's not Batman and Robin. It's Batman and Superman and Spider-Man and Iron Man. Like, there's no... It's
you got
all
the full
one A
Avenger
and one B.
Yeah.
There's no secondary. We're one team, one dream.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to correct you, and then Melanie.
Fair. I love the pushback. Duly noted, Rob.
I think what's important to note with the whole top-down culture is, you know, I've worked at several places in my career, and I think the difference here at Forefront is that it's a safe place where people can exercise their own ideas and creativity. So many times you're in, you know, a culture that, you know, people are afraid to offer suggestions or ideas because it's, you know, people are always looking to blame somebody for something. So I think that's a tribute to Rob and what he's put together here, is that it's really a safe place where you can get the best out of everybody. The best ideas are in the building. Like, just, you know, throw out, have the collaboration and conversation, and you're accomplishing what you want to, your goals, because everybody's pitching in and helping.
I find it really interesting that you use those words. It's a safe place. And when you say that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I know what you mean. Like, if somebody screws up, they're safe to say, I screwed up. They're not trying to hide that they screwed up.
Right.
People hide that they screwed up if the consequences are like over the top or egregious, or like they feel threatened because they made a human error. The fact that you said it's a safe place, that encourages people, if they make a mistake, to essentially speak up, because at the end of the day, it's not about them. It's about the total brand, the customer, the total team. And if one person makes a mistake, then ultimately the whole team made a mistake, right? So creating that type of a workspace is really important. But that also goes the other way. And the other way is, when it's safe, people dream. They think outside the box. They feel comfortable enough to be like, hey, I got a crazy idea. So when's the last time you had somebody come to you and go, I got a crazy idea? And you're like, that's not crazy. That's awesome. What say you, Melanie?
Yeah, I mean, like, when we're talking about, you know, some opportunities with customers that are, you know, on the West Coast, and, you know, somebody says, let's look at warehouse space out there. You know, great. Like, that's not crazy.
Yeah.
You know, let's put Forefront Warehouse on every coast. You know, right? I mean, like, this is the kind of excitement that, you know, is allowed here, because, like you said, you can offer any kind of idea and people aren't going to be like, you know, what are you talking about? And in the same sense, that also, you know, there's a lot of times change. People have really hard time with change. And I feel like with this environment, you can introduce change, and over time it's not so hard. So people who are generally don't like change tend to come around a lot faster, I would say.
Yeah. What say you, Rob?
So I'll start with an example. We were coming back from a trade show a few weeks ago, and I was at the baggage claim at O'Hare, and somebody saw the forefront on our shirt or whatever we had on. And then they came up to me and they're like, whoa, hey, do you guys work with Melanie? And we're like, yeah. We're like, what's up? And they're like, man, you guys swing for the fences. And we're like, and that just excites me. I'm like, heck yeah, we do. Like we're chasing, different pieces of business that I think some people are just kind of afraid to knock on the door and ask, or, maybe don't have the capabilities that we do. But we're really proud of what we do, and we're really proud of what we built. And, we're out there to try to share that. And it's just super fun and exciting. And it seems to validate a lot of what we've tried to build when you've got people from outside the organization coming in and they're sharing the same excitement that we have. And they're all in on us, chasing new business that maybe other people would say, oh, I don't know if Forefront's, capable of handling that. And I'm like, no, we are.
You know how you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
That's right.
Let's go.
And so I think to kind of answer your question about like, hey, what's crazy, or, who's coming up with, the next wild idea. It's like the Steve Jobs Apple moniker, right? Of we don't hire smart people and tell them what to do. We hire smart people so they tell us what to do. And so, frankly, you just kind of walk around. And you're like, hey, what's going on? What do you need? What should we be doing? And the team always has great ideas about like, hey, this would be really cool if we tried this, or hey, what if we, try to set up a meeting with these folks? And it's always like, yeah, that's awesome. Like, that's why we do this.
I love that.
It's super fun.
Okay, so we're recording this the day after Father's Day, and you just made me think of my father. So thank you. Anytime somebody makes me think of my father, I appreciate that. But he used to always say, managed by wandering. And you just expressed that. Like, just kind of wander around and, hey, what's going on? What's on your mind? What are you thinking about? What's the next idea? Is just such a great thing. I think it's overlooked. It's not done enough. And I think it becomes harder and harder in a virtual setting, which is how a lot of companies are operating now. So it's almost like you have to put it on the calendar to have an idea conversation. Whereas when you have a culture like this, where you're in office for the most part, you're kind of a hybrid, but for the most part, you're in office. And people want to be here because culturally it's fun and it's colorful. And you see this in the studio, you see the colors around, but that's throughout the office. It's not just in the studio. So that kind of environment, it really does speak to growth, because everyone is kind of growing in their heart, in their mind, and they're rooting for each other. They want to see success. And you're talking about somebody saying, hey, let's expand to the West Coast that isn't a shareholder. Like, that's a shareholder conversation. That's somebody who is thinking about long-term, building value in the organization. And you're saying that somebody's saying that who maybe doesn't even have skin in the game to think about it that way. That's a true passion for the organization.
It is. And I actually like to say that the difference here with, how we all work together is you wouldn't know who owned the company, because everyone comes every day with this passion as if it's their own money behind it too. So I think that speaks volumes.
That's really, really good. I'd like to get into a little bit about, some of I would imagine that some of the folks that make the jump from who they're working with currently make the jump over to you because of the diversification of products and services and the good feeling you can create and the creativity and some of those things. But they probably also make a jump because the timing is right. We know that sales is a timing-based business anyways, but a lot of times people make the jump because the folks they're working with messed up or couldn't do something that they thought that they should be getting. So what would you say are one or two things that when you onboard a new customer or they finally have said yes, they've agreed to it, what are the one or two things that maybe somebody else wasn't doing for them that you hear it's common, you hear it often, but you can do it?
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with like availability of product. So the way we work is we look at the customer, how much are they using, and like let's say a 3-month period of time, and then we can bring that packaging material into our warehouse, and because we know things come up in manufacturing, like you might get an order from a customer, and of course you're going to say yes, I can do it, and then you're going to be like, oh no, I don't have enough bags to put my product in. So we understand that as an extension of their business. So a lot of times the complaints are availability, like they'll have to wait too long for something, or someone overpromised something and underdelivered it. We don't do that. We like to underpromise and overdeliver. but it's the total availability of like when you need something, we're going to get it to you no matter what we have to do to get it to you. I mean, we have a great story of one of our customers who's like an hour away, ran out of roll stock material for their flow wrap, and we had it on the floor. It was a Friday afternoon. And I said, well, we'll wait here for you. And the warehouse manager was gone. So there's a couple of us office people with a funny video from the cameras, getting this pallet down the ramp. But
security camera. We need that as B-roll. We need the security cameras as B-roll here.
You can have it.
All right, cool. Let's
hilarious.
go.
I had the warehouse manager calling me.
Melanie's got the helmet on. She's on the forklift.
Yeah. And they still bring that. The customer still brings that up. Anytime anybody needs something, we've had people need a couple cases of something to finish an order, and we've, had Lori drive it out to them. So I would say that's probably the big change. And I do think that a lot of times customers don't realize how much they need us until, they're already working with us. So a lot of times, someone will maybe not even have a problem and say, you know what, I'm going to give you guys a shot. And then it's after we've been working on them that they come back and say they're switching all of their stuff to us because they're like,
yeah. It's interesting because it's not how good you are when you're good, because the client expects you to be good, right? And you expect to be good. It's how good are you when things go bad? Like, what did Mike Tyson say? Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face, right? And I would imagine that that's kind of what happened on that Friday. It's like the customer's like, everything's good. Oh my gosh, not everything is good. And it's Friday, and traditionally they would have called on a Friday with maybe their previous partner. And voicemail, off golfing, off fishing, whatever. And there you guys are on the security cam. We have proof that they stuck around and they made it happen. So that's a great story, and it really is a testament to, again, the top down leadership, Rob. Right? So you're super humble though. He won't admit
I know
that it starts at the top, but you really do set the culture, right? Either the culture sets on its own, which tends to drive a company down, or the culture is set, defined, and nurtured. It's constantly worked. So good for you, if that matters to you. That I'm saying good for you.
You have to kind of check your ego at the door when you work with people who are as good as the people we have. I mean, I grew up in distribution, early in my career, and, I was a finance and strategy guy. Well, Melanie's our industry leader, right? Mike and Jesus in the art and design side. Bob, who, is super technical and, really helps lead our data efforts. They're all so good at what they do. It just seems like it would be a massive mistake to try to think I know more than all these people and try to tell them how to do their job, right? My job is really just to see how can I help them do their job better.
Yeah. So you're playing offensive line, not quarterback.
I might be like offensive coordinator. I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't want to get hit. No, but it's, when you work with really good people, it really helps you establish trust, and, you just want to facilitate whatever it is that they're trying to do. So, I take a lot of pride in what the team does.
Sure. I love it.
We've spent a good amount of time too, really like unpacking people's working geniuses. And so that's been very interesting, like seeing, where people fall and like what their strengths are, what they really like, where they like to, work in. So it helps a lot when you know that about the people around you, and you're like, all right, well, that's obviously a frustration for you, or when you're pairing a few people together.
You're referring to widget, correct? Working genius? Isn't it widget?
There's like 6 types of working genius in the book.
And you could only have 2. Is my understanding.
It's 3.
Well, you have 3. You have one like core competency, and then you have like 2 others that are
you kind of touch.
Yeah, but your frustration will come in if you spend too much time in the things that are not your core competency.
So you use that in the hiring process, but you also use it in management. Right?
Yeah, and how we approach different folks, because we're all different, and we all complement each other, fortunately, in different ways. So, we not only look at the individual and kind of what their working geniuses are, but we look at ourselves as an organization and how those all kind of balance out. And so we're pretty intentional with who does what with respect to certain projects, just given we know that about each other.
And even how to speak to somebody. Let's say they made a mistake. There's a way that you would approach me about that mistake that would resonate with me best, where I would have the right reaction. And that might be polar opposite of how you would respond to Bob. He might need it delivered in a completely different way in order to get the response and reaction.
Right.
So again, when we talk about these things, it's really important to understand that what happens inside is a reflection of what's happening outside. Like if a company is really healthy inside, there's a really strong chance that what the deliverable is to customers is going to be just as healthy. And so I think that that's really important. You want to share one of your favorite success stories? You've got all these customers lined up here, all this beautiful packaging. I don't need you to get on the microphone and pick a favorite. We wouldn't do that with our children. We wouldn't pick a favorite child, right? Even though we might whisper behind the scenes of which one really irritates us and so on. But anyways, you've got all these great customers. Do you want to talk about one that really gives you a sense of pride, like a success story, not necessarily with a particular brand, but maybe a success story within that brand?
I think when we are talking about our art and design, really, and I think it's just so exciting when you can take someone's existing brand and they're like, we want to up it, revamp or some ideas, but don't
need it to pop.
Yeah, they don't really know, where to go with that. So, I think when that all comes together, when we had one tortilla bag that the artwork was all caught up in the ponytail, which the ponytail is where the clip is on the top of the bags, bread bags and any kind of poly bag. And so, the artwork was getting swallowed up in there, but the bag itself was just too big, which was creating, much too much bag, pretty much. In there. So the design team got together, redid that all, and then the bringing that with their product in it and showing them the new design. I think that's just every time. It's just you're so proud of it, and it's one of those things. They're gonna like it because it's just exceeds their expectations, and I think it's so fun because so many other times, other packaging companies who don't have design in house, you're basically just working with everybody else's art or someone else's design. But when you can say, we at Forefront, and I'm not even the one designing it, and I'm so proud about it. That we at Forefront, this is our design.
Well, you do continue to go to that. You realize that.
I do.
So there's a sense of pride, and it must be. And typically, being a director of sales, what helps you get deals done.
Yeah.
Right? So the fact that you continue to go to that is such a great indicator that it's not only a sense of pride for you, but it's where your customers go, yeah, we really like you for that. Yes, that's really the thing.
I mean, we even had a design mocked up for a customer that didn't end up buying bags from us. They wanted to continue to keep their plain bags. But the look on his face when he looked at the design with his, logo and everything on there, I mean, it's just so rewarding because, he was just like, oh, wow.
Does that make you feel like a bigger extension of the brand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I would think that.
Yeah. When you can say, start to finish, we worked on this.
Yeah.
We've had other customers who are, stickering things.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually a good way to start with a product, but then, it'd gone on for a long time with sticker. And then our design team came in and did his entire line of breads and different colors and actually made a logo so that it was transparent so you could see the product through.
Yeah.
The bag, it was, amazing.
So
those small details.
We know that branding is about creating a feeling. It's not necessarily about the logo, but there is something to a really cool logo. There is something to, it's iconic. When you see it, you go, you immediately can identify that. And there's something there really is a sense of pride and a proud moment when internally as a team you can go, yeah, we did that. They wanted to go that direction, but we helped them to go this direction. And then the feedback from that company is thank God we did that because it was going to go down the wrong angle. And these are the results we're getting now. I can imagine that is far more powerful in your heart and mind than you're warehousing $250,000 worth of product for them, right? That's a brilliant thing, but that logo that you had a say in that is that's powerful. That lives on. That's like legacy type stuff. I'd like to play a little game with you here, if you don't mind. Can we do that?
Please.
It's called
Sure.
Unboxed in 60 seconds, right? So this is a bit of a challenge.
Okay.
So each of you have a minute to essentially describe in the most simple terms, like the best way possible that you could describe what 4Front does. It's got to be simple. It's got to be compelling. And we're gonna have a contest. So in the comments below, what I want you to do is I want you to comment, who do you think had the best explanation? Who unboxed it best? So in the comments below, please put that. Please put Rob or Melanie as to who did best. And by the way, how many employees are here at 4Front?
About 20.
Okay, so there should be at least 20 comments, but we're looking for about 100 comments would be absolutely fantastic. So help us get to that. So who wants to go first?
I don't mind.
All right, so Rob is first. Here we go. It's time to get unboxed and go.
So Bob Reggie, who's our head of strategy, said that we sell convenience. And I fully believe that. So we help our customers be successful, and that's the only way that we can be successful. And the way that we do that is through our graphic design. I believe that we're at our core a data company. We help anticipate our customers' needs and suggest to them what we think they should be ordering well before they're thinking about it. They're thinking about making a great product. We're thinking about, what are they going to need, 2-3 months from now? And so we're trying to get ahead of that. And then, again, like Melanie said, with the compliance and the industry expertise that we have, I think those things all really help our customer. And the best way that I could explain to somebody who kind of doesn't really understand kind of the packaging world is think about how much thought you put into, what you wear to a first date or a job interview or to prom. You didn't just walk into the room and like grab the first thing off the shelf and like throw it on. You want to be really intentional with how you present something, yourself, etc. And so what we do is help you present yourself, your great product, the best way we possibly can.
How close was that to him? Was that a minute? Wow. 58 seconds? Are you kidding me? That was powerful. He's got his elevator down. All right, Melanie, that's
a hard one.
That's a CEO, but you're a director of sales. Yeah. You pitch all day. You pitch for a living. And by the way, we were talking before we started recording. Melanie is not sitting in an office like looking at KPIs for a living. She's in the trenches, right? She is in the trenches meeting with customers and is playing a huge part in not only the development of the team, but also development and acquisition of customers and account management and everything else, right? So, boy, oh boy, it's game on.
I guess.
Are you ready to unbox this?
I'm ready.
All right, so here's the question again so that we don't have the same mistake that we had last time. All right, so 4Front, simply and compelling. Explain what 4Front does. And by the way, I will tell you this. The art form to communication is to take the most complex thing and make it simple, right? So let's see how amazing your communication skills are. Are you ready? Put a minute on the clock. Here we go. Let's get unboxed. Go.
All right. 4Front. We are a single source supplier. What does that mean? That means that you can tell me you need a bag, a box, a tortilla bag, a chip bag, anything, and I just need the chips, the bread, the bun. We're gonna design the bag. We're gonna design the packaging. We're going to look at your inventory to see how much you need. We're gonna order it so you have it just in time, and then we're gonna keep it for you when you need it and ship it to you as you need it. So a single source supplier focused on customer convenience, so that you don't have to do anything. You just have to tell me what you need, and we're gonna do everything for you and get you what you need when you need it.
Boom. What was the time on that? 45 seconds. All right, so in the comments below, I need you to comment who did the best job. Was it Rob or was it Melanie? If you're going based on time, Melanie was more efficient, but Rob took it right to the limit. So let's get you engaged here. Let's talk about who gave the best explanation. Now I have another question for you because we're just going to stick to fun now because I think that we need to make sure that we have a little bit of fun and we're a little entertaining. Here's a hypothetical. What we're going to do is we're going to essentially give you a hypothetical of how you would package something absolutely crazy and how you would maybe store it, ship it, get it to the right place. All right. So let's think of something absolutely crazy. So I want you to think of something crazy, and I want you to ask Rob how he would handle that. And then Rob, I want you to think of something crazy, and then you're going to ask Melanie how she would handle that. Does that sound fair?
So anything to package.
Yeah, so you could say, I referred to an elephant before. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So you could say, how would you package an elephant, right? So just think of something off the wall crazy. How would you package that? What would be your best way? Let's see what the crazy answers are, and we'll go with that. And by the way, if this segment doesn't work whatsoever, then we'll cut the segment, but I think it's going to work. It's going to be fun. We got to have some fun here, right? Okay. We've learned about who you are and what you do in your culture and all the products and services, but let's see a little
I have a
personality
great
here.
one for Rob.
Let's go. All right. Ready? All right. 2 minutes. Go.
Okay, I have a friend who's just started a business and he's breeding fish. So it's how do you package these fish he's selling on eBay?
Oh, that's very interesting. So we met with a vendor or manufacturer on the West Coast, and the whole reason that their business came to be is that the founder realized that they were, I guess, bringing fish home from a fair or a fish store, and they weren't surviving. So what they figured out is that they had to add a bigger gusset and make, that's basically the bottom of the bag, that by making it wider, the fish were surviving longer.
Interesting.
So, and I didn't know this about fish. I didn't realize, I know very little about any type of packaging relating to
Not
the
packaging a lot
animal
of fish.
kingdom.
Got
No,
it.
I mean, in
Fair
general.
enough.
So,
Not a hobby.
so anyways, so first of all, I would want to make sure
He's
that
doing
I
better than I thought.
understood the type of fish that it is, for example. So, is it big? Is it small? Is it durable? How long can it survive? Does it need to be breathable? Does something need to be in the packaging? So I have to educate myself a little bit, first of all, on what type of fish. But for this example, let's just go simple and say, hey, goldfish. So I'm going to want to get a wide gusset bag. I'd be worried about it's got to live in water, so it's got to be able to be contained and not spill out. So I would think that you'd need some sort of heat seal or something, and then you'd need some additional padding around it. And then it'd be very important how you label the packaging on the outside to let people know, this needs to be handled with care.
No punctures.
There's something live inside. And it, like something that would be delivered in dry ice, it needs to be delivered within X amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So not only, is the packaging important in protecting, this goldfish, but you also need to educate people in the supply chain, making sure that it gets delivered and handled with care.
Wow. Oh, he did it again 2 seconds before the time. Oh my gosh, that was some expert stuff. Now we've got some thought leadership happening here. Oh man, if you don't get orders to ship goldfish, I don't know who would. All right, you ready? You got a good one here for Melanie?
I think it's interesting.
Let's stump it. Let's stump. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
She looks ready. She's smiling. She's ready. All right, here we go. Go.
Okay, so I'd like to think that at Forefront, there's no job that's too big or too small. You've referenced an elephant a few times. So I'm going to go the opposite end of the spectrum and say you get just kind of what would be kind of akin to like a grain of sand off of like the moon, right? Like they bring back a piece of the moon
rock.
And you want to buy, there's not enough to go around. You want to sell this. So you're just selling effectively a grain of sand off the moon. How do you package that?
Ooh, I like this because I would make the packaging just as great as the grain of moon sand, I'll call it. So it would be a little box that those decorative boxes that in itself is a little treasure, and it has magnetic closure so that it
Ooh, premium.
yeah, keep it nice. And then inside would be like a little insert that had foam or something around the edge with a center circle that would be highlight with a little magnetic lens underneath it so you could see the grain of sand.
Did you just think of that?
Yes, I did.
You just thought of that.
And I'm not done yet because the box itself would be like decorative in itself, but then it would come in an outside a sleeve, so it would slide in. So you'd open that up, and then you have your moon moon sand.
Okay, you had me at magnifying glass because how else would you know what the heck was in there? That was really, really good. I don't know who should win, who went longer, who went shorter, because it was more succinct, but both amazing
Who
answers.
goes shorter should win.
Shorter should win. All right, Melanie wins. All right, who wins in the comments? Let's hear that. All right, so here we go. We're going to go with one tool, one tip. One tool, one tip. Each guest shares a key packaging or operational tip. All right, so think of something that a customer absolutely should know. You're both thought leaderships in the industry. Give the best tool or the best tip. One tip, one tool that you would recommend to the marketplace if they were thinking about shipping, if they were thinking about graphic design and packaging and shipping and logistics, the whole slew. So one tool, one tip. Rob, you go first.
Okay. You want one tool and one tip?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's go one tool and one tip.
Okay. I really don't think that you can survive kind of in this competitive landscape without really solid kind of data models, right? There's so much information that we have at our fingertips, but how you synthesize that and use that so that you're not reactive, you're proactive. I come from a consulting background, so it's kind of speaks
natural for you.
Speaks to my past, but really having a tool that you can rely on is kind of that North Star. That assuming that you've got kind of your annual plan, your 3 to 5 year plan, something that really helps you kind of stay on track and let you know when you start to veer off that. So in my world and in my history, that's just kind of this unifying model that you feel comfortable with.
Okay.
And that other people have pressure tested and really does work for you. So I would make sure that you have some sort of tool that is your North Star.
Love it.
And then for a tip, I think you have to be true to who you are as a company and as a brand, right? For us, it's really those kind of core values. It's that, delivery model that you want to have. We show up every day. We know our customers have a choice, and we know that other people are competing for their business. And we're not perfect. We'd love to be perfect. We know that that's not really attainable, but we show up every day. And so I think that any company who wants to be successful and wants to grow, wants to have a brand that resonates in the market, really, really should be true to themselves and figure out, what is it that you really want to be known for, and then be true to that.
I love that because, in sports, they talk about, especially team sports, they talk about the best ability is availability. And I think in the marketplace right now, especially in this world, younger generation, the best thing you could do is show up every day. Like that it seems so simple, but it is not simple because when I say show up, I don't mean physically. I mean, that is important. What I mean is mentally, like arms on the table. Like you're engaged, you're intentional, you're present, and it seems like that's where you're coming from. Like that's the real cultural tip. Fantastic. All right, one tool, one tip. What say you?
I liked Rob's tool. Certainly, I can't live or do my job without all the data that everybody is giving me.
Yeah. Not necessarily accounting data. You're talking about operational data, so you can make real-time decisions right now.
Yeah, knowing exactly what the customers will need. Top of the list. However, my brain immediately goes tool hands-on stuff. So for me, a tool I use all the time and have multiples is a tape measure because we need it for every product, anything we are looking at. We need the tape measure. The tip, I would say, my tip is I come from a manufacturing background, so my tip is that a lot of times when people are talking about packaging, they're looking at price, like you said, like commodity price and that. But my tip is really this: like you need to know everything about your production and what you're doing, and you will soon realize that you want to partner with someone with packaging that is there to help you and knows exactly the right packaging to give you, because a few cents difference in a bag or a roll stock film it means a lot more when it's hours down on your line because it's not performing in the way it should be because it's a lesser quality or thinner material than what you should be using on that machine. So I think really getting to know, um, you know, where your costs are as far as your production and manufacturing. And so people are so quick to try to cut money on packaging, but when you look at it in the scheme of things, it's like, such a small piece of your business and your product, but so important on that it's there and that it's working. Because if you don't have it, especially in food manufacturing, your product you're gonna throw it away.
Absolutely.
So really looking at the bigger, I guess my overall, really look at the bigger picture of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to, race to the bottom on a price on something that's a lot more important than a lot of people are giving
Yeah.
it.
Purpose over price.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like, you're paying for a solution. If you want a really, really good solution, you what do they say? Like you can have like if there's three options, you can only have two of them. You can have what, cheap and fast, and good, cheap, or fast. You can't have all three, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a fantastic answer. So I'd love to do something now where we brainstorm the two brain powers here in the room. God knows I'm not one of them. Essentially, I'm going to give you a common packaging problem, and I want you to brainstorm what the solution would be. Okay? So let's just say that an organization is launching a new product, and they have a very tight budget. They have a short window of time, and they need to make sure that they get it properly placed in the right store space, right? It's got to be visible. It's got to be seen. So they have a new product launch. They have a very limited budget, and it needs to be seen and seen fast in order to create a return on investment. How would you go about creating that solution?
So say that you're gonna have go ahead.
So in terms of creating a solution for somebody who needs to get a product to market as quick as possible, that's going to pop, we call that being in the strike zone on the shelf. Like that's the area of the shelf that people see. We actually named our conference room next door the strike zone because of that. And then, it needs to be cost effective, right? And so again, kind of leaning on my consulting background, you got to have a plan, right? And so, and I get it, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Mm-hmm. But we're going to start with a plan, and then we're going to tweak that plan as we learn more information. And so let's take kind of a recent example, right? Is you got to get everybody on the same page, right? Because there's the getting the actual artwork, and we collaborate with our customers. Sometimes our customers bring it. Sometimes they work with us to develop it. And where they allow us, we certainly provide our input, and we've got the expertise here to do that. And so we basically, educate them on like, this is the time that this takes to do it right. And so to Melanie's earlier point is you can have it fast, cheap, or, good quality. Mm-hmm. And so we always play the long game, or we at least want to. And so we try to get our customers to, make sure they do it right. Like if you get to the shelf a week or two late, like that's really frustrating. It could cost you money. It could frustrate the retailer. But if you're playing the long game and you just know that product is not right and not ready for prime time, I would be one to say, hey guys, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to put the brakes on. We need to do this right. But nevertheless, you put the plan together. You say, guys, this is how long it's going to take to develop the artwork. This is how long it's going to take to, go through pre-press and basically be print ready. There's this big misconception of people say, hey, here's final artwork. And you're like, well, okay, that's final artwork from the design house. But that's not final artwork. Final artwork is when it's ready to print. Plates are made. It's ready to go. Yeah. Film has been ordered. So you have to build that time in. Then there's actually the production time. And then, there needs to be a quality process. And then it needs to ship. So number one, if that's what the customer wants, I educate them on the process. And then we have to say, okay, what are we willing to compromise on? Because, we stake our reputation on delivering for our customers. The last thing we want is for it not to work out. And so we don't necessarily tell the customer what they should do to meet that timeline. We tell them what's possible and then what would need to be condensed. So in some cases, I think we've gone for, hey, here's a simpler bag. Maybe you put a label on it, or here's something that maybe you used previously. It's not quite ready, but if you can use that for 2 weeks while we develop this, okay. But essentially, what we do is we educate, we lay out the options, and then we try to guide our customer through the decision-making process to get there. So it's not a direct answer to your question exactly. However, it tends to lead to more success.
Which that helped because we are more like the long game, right? We want to do everything right. We want to cross our T's and dot our I's. And so, yeah, if, now that Rob is speaking, I can give a couple examples where someone needed something quickly. And what we did was we were able to design a label, again, using a stock bag or something that can come quickly. We were able to digitally print some roll stock film for someone who needed some samples of their brand for a show very quickly. Things like that. We can offer some solutions on a quick fix, but for something that would be so important for like what you were describing, we would just, like Rob said, educate them and this is how long this would take so they could do it right.
All right, so authenticity is one of the most important things that a brand and the leadership at an organization could possibly have. I tried to trick them into giving an easy answer, a quick answer, and they did not fall for the trick. You went with authenticity, which I absolutely appreciate, because the answer is not a fast answer. The answer is the right answer. And so instead of just, going with something off the hook, you held true to your purpose and your intention and what your guidelines are and your standards, and educate the customer, tell them the truth, give them the best options, let them choose, but there is no like fast answer. There's only the right answer. So that was really, really cool. We're going to wrap this bad boy up. I have a final question. I want you to answer by completing the sentence. And then we're going to wrap this up. By the way, has this been fun? First episode? You having fun, Zach? I'm having fun. First episode, Unpacked, powered by Forefront. We're going to be putting out an episode every month. Please like, subscribe. Please share with your friends, your family. Tell everybody. If you've got a megaphone, I'd like you to walk through your neighborhood and scream on the megaphone to please subscribe to Forefront's new podcast, Unpacked, powered by Forefront. We appreciate you very much. Are you ready for this, Rob? We're gonna give Melanie the final word. Actually, I'll probably take the final word because I got to say goodbye. But okay. we're gonna end with this. Here is just complete the sentence. Forefront is really about
elevating brands.
Awesome. Ready? Forefront is really about
highlighting people and their businesses.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. That has been Melanie. That has been Rob. My name is John Morris. We are signing out. Tune in every month for a new episode, and we cannot wait to bring guests on. You see these amazing logos that are surrounding us. I'm sure some of the folks that represent those brands are going to come out and tell their story and talk about how they collaborate with Forefront to make amazing things happen. Thanks for tuning in. We are out. This has been Unpacked.